think Final Fantasy 16 might be contender for Game of the Year, if not win Game of the Year. What is up, guys? It's Jimbo here, and welcome back to another video. Now, I am speaking in a little bit of an extremes there. I've not really played the full game yet, but I just got done playing the Final Fantasy 16 demo, and it was quite possibly one of the best introductory experiences to a new game that I have ever played. Now, before we jump into any more of the demo, I will preface this. You don't need to have played any of the other Final Fantasies to understand this game. It is a brand new game, completely standalone. You don't need to know any of the story. There's no backstory from other games. There are some themes that have popped up in previous Final Fantasy games, like the Chocobos and some of the enemies that you might see, but it's completely fresh. So I do highly recommend that if you aren't even going to check out the full game, check out the demo and see what you think. Now, the first 15 minutes of this game is quite possibly one of the best 15 to 20 minutes I have seen in a game for a very, very long time. It hooked me completely. First of all, behind me, we get to see this cool, epic battle to start off with. Wizards using magic. We get to see these just combat on the go. Huge, epic battle. But it gets a little bit better. In steps these guys. The dominance using icon powers. This guy is an absolute giant, and then we have a frost witch, and this fight, you are doing stuff in between the fight as well, and it just completely sold me. There's this whole backwards and forwards, Game of Thrones style thing, high fantasy stuff, but these guys just going ham against each other. I was sat there with the controller in my lap going, why isn't this just like a movie? I could just watch this as an entire movie, but I get to also take part in this as well. Absolutely crazy beginning to a demo, and it already hooked me. It already grabbed me to start out, and we also get to obviously see Clive running around in this area as well. I'll talk more about Clive in just a second, but yeah, first 15-20 minutes, absolutely crazy. So the basic synopsis of the story is we follow Clive and also Joshua. They're the children of this Archduke of Rosaria, I think it is. And essentially, Joshua has the Phoenix power, and they're going to be going to the Phoenix Gate in order to awaken his power or do some form of blessing of some kind. And this is like a rite of passage type deal. But we're playing as Clive. Clive is just kind of outcasted a little bit by his mother, and he obviously has a bunch of stuff that is going on there. There's just this real high fantasy element to the game. And yeah, I really enjoyed. It was a little bit slow after the first initial 15 minutes, but then once you start to understand some of the characters and understand what's going on, you'll really see the highlight of the story. And I'm sure it's going to get even better as I play through it, because the way that this demo finished, I won't spoil anything if you want to go and play it yourself, was phenomenal, and I cannot wait to see where the story goes from here. But let's talk about combat. Combat is going to be the main thing that you interact with the most, and I really like the system here. First of all, if you are unfamiliar with the combat system, which is the first time you get into an action game and there's a lot of button presses and stuff, there are 4 rings that you can equip. One that helps you do potions when you are past a certain level of health. It will do it automatically for you, and it goes in order of the lowest potion first. There's also a ring of evasion, which also just dodges specific attacks so you don't need to press the dodge button, which is really nice if you really wanted to try that. There's also one that allows you to it does combos for you as well, so that you don't have to do a lot of intricate button presses. That's nice, but if you really want to engage in it, you can have those off. And the cool thing about it is that you have 3 or 4 main systems. You have your Phoenix abilities, you also have your attacks, and you also have magic. Attacks are easy. You press square a few times and you do a combo. And then also on top of that, you have magic, and then you can press the melee attack and then the magic attack in succession of one another and do a magic burst and play into the combo system as well. And then there's also a Phoenix system, which is essentially you can dodge to close the distance on people. You can also use it to do a big Phoenix right uppercut. Not Phoenix right. No, not that Phoenix right. A Phoenix strike where you do a rising attack, which is really cool as well. And then when we talk about the combat encounters that you go through in the demo. You fight a couple of goblins, but you actually fight quite a few bosses in this demo. So the way that the combat system works for higher level targets and also bosses as well is you have a stagger bar, and this stagger bar will allow you to then put them on their ass and do additional damage to you, or to them, I should say. If you look behind me, you can see me fighting the Gigas, which is one of like the big goblin guys you fight. And then once we knock him down, using some of the abilities, you're able to do even more damage to it, which then means that like once the combo system goes up even further, you get more abilities, you become stronger, you're going to be able to chain a bunch of stuff. So when you do put somebody down into that stagger state, you are going to be able to put out a amazing amount of damage as well. And I'm excited to see what like monsters we're going to fight. Obviously we absolutely destroy them here, but let me talk about one specific boss fight that I really enjoy, and also one of the core elements of boss fights as well. I'm of course talking about the Moorball. It's one of the most like iconic characters, I believe, to the series of Final Fantasy. It's been in quite a few of them. But the cool thing about these big fights against a lot of these enemies is there is cinematic strikes and also cinematic evasion. Cinematic strikes are essentially what you're going to get to see on screen right now, where you get pulled in. It's a quick time event. You press one button. I believe it just goes around and you have enough time to be able to hit it as well. And it can do a hell of a lot of damage. And I think it just adds that action element, makes it feel really cool. And as you can see, I do some really amazing effect. You also instantly stagger the enemy as well. And then you can go in to do a bunch of damage afterwards. Now, obviously, to begin with, you're not going to be able to do a lot of damage because I'm only level 6/7 at this point in the game. But as you will get further on, I'm thinking it's going to be a lot more expansive, and you're going to be able to do a lot more damage. Another example of a boss fight that you get to take part in the demo is against the Knight of the Blinding Dawn. Once again, different style of attacks, and it's also cool to, you know, chain all of the different moves. And as I slowly started to pick things up, because the evade button is on the right bumper and not circle, I was pressing circle sometimes for my Phoenix shift, but also I was then also got the hang of the dodging system, doing precision dodges, going into the stagger bar, being able to then do a bunch of damage. The rising Phoenix attack also does quite a bit of damage as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed this fight, and I enjoyed the 3 or 4 fights that we had for the entire duration of the demo. And that's just in the first like maybe 2.5 hours of the game. So really top-notch showing, especially for a Final Fantasy game. But let's talk about one of the best elements of the demo. I'm of course talking about the icon fights. These are quite possibly one of the craziest sequences I have seen. That one, it ran incredibly smoothly on the PlayStation 5 when I was running it. The combat is very simplistic, but it's just more of a showcase of power of these big like monsters. Essentially, you get an attack button, you also get an evade button. There's also the cinematic strikes and the cinematic evades as well in this, and you can see on the top of the screen just the chaos that is going on behind me. And there's an example of the cinematic evasion. It's just, they're amazing. And like, I didn't know like what was going to happen. It did kind of drag on a tiny little bit, but I'm sure these are going to get even crazier as you play through, because they're just more cinematic stuff. They're not designed for these uber combo systems, as far as I can tell, to begin with. And then if we look at the other combo systems in the game, I'm excited to see what other icons fights there are, how many there are in the game, and also how good they're going to be and how varied they are. So because this one was pretty nuts. You felt like you were on rails, but the entire time I'm just like, what's going on? This is just crazy. I'm just doing the thing that the game tells me to do, and that is something that I really enjoy. Now, of course, at the start of the video, I did make obviously a jokey claim this is going to be the game of the year, but I truly think after the first 2 hours, I have not had a game that has taken those first 2 hours and sold me on an experience. If this is what we're going to get for the majority of the game, plus the gear system, plus farming to be able to get up levels and stuff, and then also more icon battles, the combo system becomes more expanded. I can't not complain and not be like, oh my god, this looks crazy. And I just think that you need to play this. If you've got a PlayStation, go and check it out. If you've never played a Final Fantasy game, do so. It's a little bit unfortunate that it's not coming to Xbox. I think it's a timed exclusive, or it is. I'm not even sure myself. Or it's also it's not coming to PC just yet. But I think this run on PC, high settings as well, is going to be pretty crazy as well. But if you've played the demo, let me know down in the comment section, because oh boy, I am very excited for a new Final Fantasy game. I'm not big on like the MMOs. I haven't played a lot of the older ones, but the newer ones that are more action focused, I have been 100% invested in. So yeah, stay tuned for more stuff on Final Fantasy, because I'll be definitely doing a longer video talking about it in more depth. But yeah, if this video has been helpful to kind of sell you on Final Fantasy, then please make sure you leave a like on it. Subscribe if you're new, and turn on the notification bell as always. And this has been It's Jimbo. I'll see you guys next time.